Hare Krishna, everybody. We're very fortunate that we
हरे
are
कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Pranam. We're in the family of Srila Prabhupada, and we are actually, despite being unqualified, we are actually talking about such a high topic, you know, among devotees. That is how to behave, or how to have proper etiquettes. You know, I told you yesterday, and I'm again telling you today, repeating myself. Don't ever take these sessions as the correction as a checklist to correct other people. Please try to understand that Vaishnava etiquette classes are only for yourself, not for other people. Means whosoever is listening to these classes, you should be like thinking in this way that it is very good for me to improve myself, not to find fault in, in other people. This is a very big problem because what happens normally when we are listening to such classes, automatically when suppose we see that something wrong was happening, so we think about that particular person. Oh, you see, I saw that person was making such mistake. As soon as you start finding fault in other people, your fall down starts. Actually, what happened one time, there's a book actually called Hari Bhakti Vilas. That book is all about Vaishnava etiquettes. So, in that book, there were so many rules and regulations. So, one of the Prabhupada disciples, he read the book and he came to Prabhupada. And he said, Prabhupada, I have read Hari Bhakti Vilas and I've read this, I've read this. First Prabhupada said, very good. And then he said, I've read this, very good. Then again he said, Prabhupada, then I've read this, I've read this also, and this. He said, okay, very good that you've read this book. But let me tell you one thing, that whosoever would read this book will go to hell. And this particular book, when I got introduced to this book in 2009, for the first time by some Babajis and all, so I had a curiosity to know about this book. And I spoke to one devotee, and then he quoted this particular incident to me. That one time Prabhupada said, whosoever would read, not in incident, he quoted this statement made by Prabhupada, that anybody, whosoever would read Hari Bhakti Vilas will go to hell. So I was thinking, how come Prabhupada is saying like something like this for the book which has been written by Sanatana Goswami Pad? Like, how can you say something like this? I was very confused. But I always knew there's something wrong in this statement, or there's something, you know. Then after 2 3 years, when I came to Vrindavan and when I moved in here, and then when I started reading the book by myself, then I understood why Prabhupada was saying that, because he knew that there were so many rules and regulations which we are not following in our day-to-day life. And if any ordinary person would read these kind of books, will always find fault in others. And एक भक्त का सबसे बड़ा दुर्भाग्य ये है कि वो दूसरों के अंदर दोष देखे. चैतन्य महाप्रभु का एक नाम है अदोषदर्शी. The one who never sees fault in other people. So this is also very important and very essential for all of us not to see faults in anybody. So yesterday I told you that the whole Vaishnava etiquette, the concept of Vaishnava etiquette is actually to make you deal with 5 personalities. One, those devotees who are elder to you, devotees who are younger than you, devotees of your age, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the fifth is, what is fifth? Can anybody tell me? Kamal, can you tell me
Prabhuji,
fifth personality?
fifth personalities, I do not remember actually.
Ah, ah. No, you were there that day when I told you. Please make notes. Huh? It's very important. It's very important. Fifth person is the non-devotee. So we need to actually learn as a Vaishnava how to deal with these five personalities. Okay? So we've already discussed about so many aspects of how to pay obeisances, why to pay obeisances like that. Let me tell you also some other things which are not mentioned in the book. Suppose if you are going in Vrindavan and if you see or you find any tree in the middle of the road, never go from the left side of the road of the tree. Always go keeping that. Yeah, come on, you just mute yourself here. Always go from the right, from in such a way like this, so that the tree is on the right side. So it doesn't stand for only tree. It stands for Vaishnavas also. Suppose if you have senior Vaishnavas or you're walking, if the senior Vaishnavas are going, so instead of crossing like this, you should always try to cross like that, so that you're keeping a senior devotee on your right side. Second thing, whenever you're crossing a devotee, one thing you have to keep it in your mind, very essential and very important. That when two devotees are talking, one should never pass through. You loses all your security. Suppose if by any chance they are blocking the road and they're talking, then you can say, "Excuse me, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji." Very humbly, you can pass through. We should never cross when two devotees are talking to each other. Okay? Whenever anybody is paying obeisances, never cross him from front. He go from his foot side, which is very important also. So now we are going to talk today about speech. One statement I heard that what we have to speak in Krishna consciousness we learn in 1.5 years maximum because of reading Prabhupada books and everything, right? When do we have to speak that? To learn that it takes us the whole life, you know? Even the sympathy or the empathy. We should try to be more empathetic than sympathetic. Nobody wants our sympathy. Nobody needs our sympathy. Everybody wants to have what? The empathy. Empathy means understanding the need or the heart of the person. जैसे कि सपोज किसी का पैर टूट गया और तूने बोला अरे यार आई एम सो सॉरी दैट तेरा पैर टूट गया यार काश मैं वहां होता मैं तो टूटने नहीं देता तेरा पैर में ये करता मैं वो करता मैं हॉस्पिटल नहीं लेके जा पाया यार सॉरी यार मैं मानता तेरे को बहुत दर्द हो रहा है ये हो रहा है वो हो रहा है दिस इज नॉट sympathy. And people sometimes they want, sometimes they don't want at all. Mostly what people want is empathy. So empathy में क्या होता है कि you will bring the fruits and everything for the person, and then you will say, "Hey, dude, I'm so sorry that you met with an accident or you broke your leg. I just came to say hi to you. You just recover yourself nicely, and then we'll have a party, right? Let me go now, because if I stay here, you'll try to serve me food, you'll try to serve me this, that, and I'm supposed to serve you rather than taking service from you. So this is means being empathetic, because when somebody is sick and so many people are coming to see you, sometimes people get irritated, yeah, yeah, so many people are coming and coming to meet me. So ये बहुत छोटी छोटी बातें हैं जो कि एक एज अ वैष्णव हमें समझनी पड़ेगी और very important, very essential. For Prabhupada, for speech, Prabhupada says also the saying that my disciples they know what to speak, but when and how they still have to learn. You know, so the urge to speak is very strong, and as soon as we get an opportunity, we begin speaking. Srila Prabhupada explains that if we do not speak Krishna Katha, then we speak all sort of nonsense. Such talk is called prajalpa and the bone of our material identification. Thus, devotees must refrain from it. All mundane literatures are also practical exhibition of the urge to speak. भक्ति शास्त्र में प्रभुपाद कहते हैं नेटवर्क में भक्ति सॉरी प्रभुपाद कह रहे हैं नेटवर्क में the materialistic people read heaps of newsletter, magazines, and novels, solve crossword and so many non-essential things. In this fashion, people simply waste their valuable time and energy in the Western country. Old men retire from active life and play cards, fish, watch television, and debate about useless social practical themes. All these are on the other frivolous activities. ठीक है और प्रेजेंट पर ही कैटेगरी में आता है तो रूप गोस्वामी advocates the process of Krishna Katha. Even he says one should always keep mourn, but the real mourn is what? Krishna Katha. Speaking only the stories of Lord. Excuse me. Sorry. So Srila Rup Goswami advocates the process, and before we speak, we should always think: is it necessary for me to speak? Is it kind to speak, or is it right to speak? Devotee should avoid speech that offends, particularly blasphemy of devotee. You can criticize any Vaishnava in three conditions. If it can protect that particular person from fall down, जिसको तुम criticize कर रहे हो, और जिससे तुम criticize कर रहे हो, is it going to protect that particular person, or if it is going to protect yourself or the people who are around you, then only you can criticize. But still, you don't have the right to criticize in that case as well. But you can at least just say, this is something which I've heard, and this is something which I think is fishy. So it's up to you how you want to take it. Devotee should avoid speech that offends, particularly blasphemy of devotees, which is the first offense against the holy name, Vaishnava Aparadh. अब speech के अंदर एक part of the preaching. The actions and behavior are the best preaching because action speaks louder than words. As the saying goes, your actions speak so loud that I cannot hear what you're saying. Preaching means to change the heart of simply to defeat someone's intellectually. है ना? Not simply to defeat someone's intellectually. So sometimes people will think, oh, I am a very amazing preacher. Why? Because whenever anybody comes to me for the argument, I defeat that person. But we often forget that defeating that particular person will take that person away from the Lord. Rather, we should try to win his heart. This does not mean, of course, that we should not present our philosophy properly, of course. जैसे मैंने बताया कि रूप गोस्वामी was very angry at him at one point of time with Jiva Goswami. He said, why you had to go all the way and why you have to go all the way and you have to do this uh, defeating. But inside his heart, he was very happy कि मेरे डिसाइपल ने आखिर पूरी गौड़िया वैष्णविज्म की जो है ना मान रखी है उसको डिफीट कर दिया ठीक है There's no need to read others books or go to other philosophy to learn how to preach. The humble servant of the spiritual master is the best preacher. You see every religion, you see every third or fourth religion, they are actually reading our scriptures to criticize our scriptures, you know, without having proper understanding of it. The principle of preaching is nicely described by Srila Rup Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Just one minute. Okay. Stop this. I don't know. कहाँ पे समय कमल
Roji, book regarding books you are talking about
English book?
that spiritual. We should not go to other books and read. We should
हाँ
read
हाँ
only
हाँ
our
because
scriptures.
these others yes sometimes they are going and they're reading our books and trying to find faults in our scriptures. Our scriptures are pure and they cannot have any fault in them. So this is very important for us to have this understanding, you know. So preaching के अंदर एक बहुत essential चीज है कि we should first learn what we have to speak at one point of time. मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, कैसे अपने आचरण से किसी को प्रीच कर रहा हूँ, मैं अपने शब्दों से किसी को ज्यादा कटुता तो यूज नहीं कर रहा हूँ, ऐसे तो नहीं बोल रहा कि किसी का हृदय जो है दुखी हो रहा है, या फिर मेरी प्रीचिंग से कोई व्यक्ति भगवान के विमुख हो रहा है भगवान से, या विमुख भगवान की तरफ जा रहा है, यू नो. तो ये न केन प्रकारेण मन कृष्ण निवेशते निवेशयेत. तो सनातन कैसे भी व्यक्ति को भगवान के प्रति रति उत्पन्न होनी चाहिए, ये न केन प्रकारेण, किसी भी तरीके से. So ultimately, what will change people's heart is not simply the philosophy. And I'm telling you, philosophy would never change. I'm telling you. If anybody asks me, what did you like the most when you came to Krishna consciousness? So, I have this memory that, okay, and that I came to Vrindavan for the first time, and Baki Bihari Mandir गया, वहाँ पे मुझे साधु मिला, वो साधु से मैंने बोला चलो बाबा आगे चल के कुछ मस्ती करते हैं, बोले का प्रसाद देते हैं, वो सब मेमोरीज हैं. मैं मंदिर में आया, मैंने डीटीज भी देखे, मैंने प्रभुपाद को भी देखा, ऐसा लगा प्रभुपाद कोई व्यक्ति सही में वहां बैठे हुए हैं. पहले मैं यही सोच रहा था कि वो व्यक्ति रियल में बैठा हुआ है वहां पे. बट अगर मैं वो सब मेमोरीज को अपने सब कलेक्टिव करूं, अगर कलेक्टिवली अगर मैं पूरा देखूं, तो मेरी मेमोरी में वही दिन आता है जब मैं एक मंदिर में अपने पंजाबी बाबा में खड़ा हुआ था और मुझे डिवोटी ने आके बोला, प्रभु जी हरे कृष्णा, आपका नाम क्या है? और उसने मुझे बोला, प्रभु जी हमारा 4 डे सेशन हो रहा है, मुझे ज्वाइन. तो आई डिड नॉट लीव माय हाउस. मैंने मैंने अपना घर जो है इसलिए नहीं छोड़ा था क्योंकि मेरे को डीटीज बहुत पसंद थे, या मुझे स्कॉन की दीवारें बहुत पसंद थी. और अगर तुम सब भी अपनी हिस्ट्री देखोगे, तो वी ऑल आर एक्चुअली इन कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ ब्यूटीफुल deities, big temples, opulences, prasadam. They can be one factor, but the most essential and the most important factor जो हमारे को भक्ति में टिका के रखता है, या भक्ति में आगे बढ़ा के रखता है, that is an individual soul, जिससे हम मिले थे for the first time, or for the second time, or for the third time, or maybe after 1 year of practicing Krishna consciousness, forcefully we got to meet somebody, or maybe after 10 years we got to meet somebody, whatever. But actually, people leave impact on you. So actually, मेरे जो preaching का main motive होता है वो होता है changing the heart of the person, and that is the real philosophy. ठीक है? Our preaching should generally be done in a humble attitude, not in an attitude of superiority. When preaching, we should simply repeat the words of the spiritual master and deliver the messages like the postman. Like, I always say, I don't like to give classes. I like to read together. Why I like to read together? Because when we're reading together, we are still in the safer zone. Safer zone of our acharyas, where we are reading, you know, the acharyas and whatever they have said, and we're having discussion on that only. And we are sharing our experiences. We are empowered to the degree we are submissively preaching their words. The more you want to be empowered by the acharyas, more you repeat their words as this. One must show compassion and concern for the person one is preaching to. One may need to even pay attention to his petty material problems if necessary. You must speak the truth, but according to Deshakala Patra, says that this time, we can lie also. Our goal is to make people Krishna conscious, and we should preach keeping this in mind and do what is needful. You don't have to lie, but you can just like trick the person. It's okay. There's nothing wrong in that. You know what I mean? One should have a balanced approach while preaching. A good preacher will always understand the need of the devotee. Yeah. In different categories. Just as in material life, there are bankers, lawyers, doctors, and so on. In spiritual life too, there is a need for the renounced order and also for those in the household or professional category. Both varieties of devotees are necessary and valuable. It is very important, for us to have this understanding कि मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ किसी को। जैसे एक बड़ा मैं आपको एग्जांपल देता हूँ कि देयर वाज वन डिवोटी, यू नो, ही केम टू मी, इनिशियल डेज थे जब हमारे भक्ति के, we did not have that much of maturity. So he came to me and he said कि I am addicted to porn. What should I do, Prabhuji? I said, yeah, these are anartha and they will go with time. My understanding was clear कि जो भी मेरे अंदर अनर्थ है, चाहे मैं सिगरेट पी रहा हूँ, चाहे मैं ड्रिंक कर रहा हूँ, चाहे मैं नॉनवेज खा रहा हूँ, they will all go away one. He said कि that I have this habit of watching pornography. What should I do? I said, this is the big unearth. Just relax and try to watch something positive. I told him that, you know, I was addicted to watching movies. So if I have to watch something today, I watch Mahabharata, I watch Ramayana, or then, you know, when I was not satisfied with all that, so I'd watch this uh, Nadia Nimai movie, Chaitanya Mamu की movie, huh? Bengali movies, you know. And then I had also watched this Prabhupada Leela, ठीक है? No voice, no voice, खुशी no voice.
न्यू वॉइस इज कमिंग प्रभु जी, हो सके नेटवर्क का कोई इश्यू होगा।
वो ठीक है। So, you know, so then I told him that, you know, you watch positive things, everything will go away. But then, you know, he got in touch with somebody else after me. And then when he got in touch with that particular person, he started talking to that person. That person said, it is a very big anartha you have. If you watch pornography, you'll go to hell. You'll do this, you'll do that, this, that. वो बंदा डिप्रेशन में चला गया, मैं वृंदावन शिफ्ट हो गया, मुझे पता ही नहीं चला कि क्या हुआ क्या नहीं हुआ। एक दिन मैं गया उसके पास, मैं उसने मुझे बोला, प्रभु जी भक्ति होती मेरे बस की बात नहीं है, मैं तो माला भी नहीं करता, कुछ नहीं करता। तो उसने मुझे ऐसे बोल दिया। मैंने मैंने उसको ज्यादा वो नहीं लिया। मैंने उसे बोला था कि ऐसा है कि तेरे को ना किसी ने गलत मिसगाइड किया है, तो प्लीज ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, ये सब अनर्थ होते हैं। अगर देखो नहीं तेरे से कंट्रोल होता तो कोई बात नहीं, तो भगवान से प्रार्थना तो कर एक बार। तूने कितनी प्रार्थना करी है? क्या नहीं प्रभु जी ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है। मुझे बहुत आर्ग्यूमेंट किया मुझसे कि आपको पता नहीं है, आपको क्या पता। यू नो, मेरे कितनी सीनियर डिवोटी से बात हुई, उसने बोला कि मैं, मेरी पुश्तें जो है वो नरक में जाएंगी। मेरे को कितने, बिकॉज ऐसा कहा जाता है कि वुमेन दे ईट कॉन्ट्रसेप्शंस, तो ऐसा कहा जाता है कि पति और पत्नी दोनों के दोनों को पता नहीं कितने असंख्य सालों तक सूर्य देखने को नहीं मिलता, यानी कि उनको भी वूम में आके मरना पड़ता है। ठीक है, तो कहता है ये स्टेटमेंट किसने दे दी उसको। मैंने यार यू नो जस्ट ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड प्रीचिंग क्या हो रही है, या तुम्हें समझने की कोशिश करनी पड़ेगी कि वो बंदा अपने हृदय से ऑलरेडी हार चुका है, और तुम उसको ऐसे प्रीचिंग कर रहे हैं। थोड़ी देर का पता चला कि ही कमिटेड सुसाइड। व्हाई, हाउ ही कमिटेड सुसाइड? समबडी फ्रॉम सम अदर संप्रदाय टोल्ड हिम कि अगर तू इस पर्टिकुलर दिन पे सुसाइड करेगा, इस समय पे, तो तेरे को जो है मोक्ष प्राप्त हो जाएगा। और पता नहीं कौन सी एकादशी देख के, क्या दिन देख के, क्या उसने देखा, एंड देन ही कमिटेड सुसाइड एंड देन ही डाइड। दैट वाज अ वेरी अनफॉर्चुनेट इवेंट फॉर हिम, यू नो। So this particular example I always give is that we have to understand what are we preaching. There's a need for the qualified brahmacharis, qualified grihasthas, qualified vanaprastha, qualified sannyasis. Why? Because of only grihastha can teach a grihastha. आप किसी ब्रह्मचारी के पास जाके बोलोगे ना कि अरे आई डोंट नो whether I should share or not. एक बार एक सन्यासी है, वो क्लास दे रहे थे, और उनको एक माता जी ने हाथ पकड़ के बोला कि व्हाट इफ माय हस्बैंड इज यू नो अप्रोचिंग मी टू हैव रिलेशनशिप, फिजिकल रिलेशनशिप, व्हाट शुड आई डू महाराज एट दैट केस? महाराज सेड, तुझे जाके ना तुलसी महारानी की शरण लेनी चाहिए और बोलनी चाहिए, हे तुलसी महारानी प्लीज मुझे राक्षस से बचाओ, प्लीज तुलसी महारानी मुझे राक्षस से बचाओ। अरे भैया, यू गॉट मैरिड, you got married to this person. How can you have such mentality for that person? You know, why did you get married? And if as a Dharma Patni, you cannot protect your husband from falling, you know, fall down. then what is the use of you being there as a धर्मपत्नी? So धर्मपति और धर्मपत्नी का मतलब ये होता है कि you protect each other from fall down. That is also very essential and very important. So basic etiquette must be followed when other devotee is preaching. They should not be suddenly interrupted. Basic courtesies must be followed. ठीक है? मतलब smile pass करना and all. New people should be made to feel at home and should be given great abundance of love and hospitality. Particularly on Sunday at the temple, devotees should first associate with the guests and newcomers and then with the regular devotees. While we preach to new people, we must always remember the preaching of devotees equally is not more important. So, while we make newcomers feel at home, regular devotees should not be neglected either. ठीक है? Very important है. At outset program, newcomer and guests must be given preferences for asking questions after the lecture, particularly when time is limited. A regular devotee may ask some questions, but they can, ask later also. We should not advocate or preach breaking of the law of the land in the name of doing something for Krishna. Like, let me capture this property because everything belongs to Krishna, and this person is anyways going to die soon. So let me have this property and I'll open a big small temple here or I'll open a big center here. This kind of mentality will take you to hell. We should not be sectarian, very important. We should respect all bona fide religious and spiritual paths. And in particularly, we may show special respect to other Vaishnava Sampradaya. This is the most important and essential thing we have to do. Right? Anybody has any question about preaching?
No, Prabhuji.
बोलो.
टीचिंग करने से पहले हमें तो ये लिए करना चाहिए या पहले दिन से
आखिर प्रीचिंग जो होती है ना, प्रीचिंग उन्होंने बोला कि प्रीचिंग का मतलब हो गया तोते की तरह रट के बोल देना जो भी आपने बोलना है. लेकिन वो प्रीचिंग जो होती है वो थोड़े समय के लिए ठीक होती है, इनिशियल लेवल के लिए. Unless you have realized something, you cannot preach because preaching comes from realization. किसी ने बहुत अच्छी बात बोली है कि preaching is a verb of bhakti. यानी कि अगर आपने बहुत खट्टा खाना खा लिया तो खट्टी डकार आती है ना, वैसे जब आप बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाते हो ना भक्ति से, तब आप जो डकार लेते हो, दैट इज रियल प्रीचिंग. ठीक है? Although you should not do that, but I'm telling you, it is very important. People don't understand that. हर व्यक्ति को पड़ी है कि कैसे भी करके मैं गुरु बन जाऊं ताकि मेरा जो है बच्चे कुछ दिन आराम से कट जाए. But this is very important. When you're becoming a guru, you're actually taking up the responsibility of so many people, and you're actually digging your own. कहते हैं ना, अपने गिरगाट खुद ही आप dig कर रहे हो. If you have not realized and you're preaching. अब कोई मुझसे आगे बोलता है कि why we should chant 16 rounds, so then I can say my acharyas they used to chant because मैंने प्रभुपाद से ही सुना है कि why do we have to chant 16 rounds? क्योंकि संख्या पूर्वक नाम गारती भी. और मैं गोस्वामीगढ़ जो थे वो 16 माला करते थे. संख्या मतलब 16 माला नहीं, जो भी नाम जप करते थे वो संख्या पूर्वक करते थे. तो मैं संख्या का भाव लिया 16 कर, 16 माला करनी चाहिए, इसलिए मैं 16 माला करनी चाहिए. Fair enough, right? So ये repetition is okay. But when you realize it, then you will tell the person कि कि इसको इस तरीके से समझना चाहिए कि I went to the market, a restaurant, खाना खाने के लिए. मेरे दोस्त ने बोला कि यार हमें ना डोसा मंगाना है. So let's order 2 dosas. But I have only 100 rupees. Do you have money? Yes, I have money. How much money do you have? I have money. अरे how much money do you have? I have money. I have enough money. Okay, they have ordered 2 dosas. डोसा आता है और डोसा आने के बाद वो देखते हैं क्या बिल आया है 300 रुपये का. तो उसने बोला मेरे पास 100 रुपये थे. तूने बोला तेरे पास पैसा है. कह रहा नहीं, आई टोल्ड यू आई हैव मनी बट आई डिडंट टेल यू हाउ मच मनी आई हैव ओनली 100 रुपीज. सो इसीलिए वी हैव टू हैव अ काउंट How many rounds are we chanting? So that at the time when we are facing the Lord, we have some substantial to show to the Lord. Hey, Thakurji, I've chanted 16 rounds throughout my life. Please try to understand. And don't send me to the Yamadutas. Anyway. So now we are coming to the most important thing, that is Prashadam. Mahaprasadi Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Svalpa Punyavatam Rajam Vishwasaneva Jayate.
शरीर विद्या
नहीं, नहीं, इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब है महाप्रसाद गोविंद नाम ब्राह्मण और वैष्णव, ये पांचों के पांचों नॉन डिफरेंट फ्रॉम ईच अदर एंड स्व अल्प पुण्यवतम राजम। हे युधिष्ठिर, हे राजन, जिस व्यक्ति के पास बहुत कम पुण्य होते हैं, विश्वास नहीं हो जाए, वो कभी भी इन चीजों में विश्वास नहीं डेवलप कर पाता। तो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। सो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट कृष्णा से नॉन डिफरेंट है। तो फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट वन शुड ईट ओनली प्रसादम, व्हिच इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। अगर वो ये बोल ले कि आई ईट ओनली प्रसादम, दैट इज इनफ फॉर द लाइफ टाइम। ठीक है। If it is cooked by devotees, offered to the Lord by devotees, and served by devotees, then it's first class. Unless absolutely necessary for preaching or service, food cooked by non-devotees should not be avoided. Should be avoided. Sorry. In the same spirit, all commercial food, like chocolate, ice cream, chips, biscuit, cold drinks, bread, etc., should be avoided at home. To guests, one may offer homemade foods, natural drinks like lemon water, juices, etc. It doesn't have any spiritual reason. It has a very simple health issue. Health reason. Commercial item may be selectively had while traveling or in the otherwise compelling circumstances. Where the prasadam one is carrying with oneself is not sufficient, or as an addition, uncooked and raw food like fruit, nuts, milk, etc. are preferable to commercially cooked items. ठीक है, ये सोचना चाहिए हमें कि जो प्रीचिंग हम प्रसादम खा रहे हैं, जिस रेस्टोरेंट से खा रहे हैं वो रेस्टोरेंट वेजिटेरियन हो ज्यादा बेटर है। वन शुड ईट प्रसादम while which is सात्विक in nature, ठीक है, and bhoga must be offered in the proper way at home. Prasadam should not be wasted. Excess prasadam should be put on another plate before eating. Too much of eating is also not good. After everyone in the family has eaten, if the prasadam is still left, it may be retained for some time for the next meal, if possible, or distribute outside somewhere. Prasadam should be eaten only when the right hand, or sorry, eaten with the right hand, and left hand is for touching other part of the body. While serving prasadam, the serving spoon should not touch the plate. Of course, आपको बता दूं कि one of the mathas I've been, I saw that nobody kept the container down. They were keeping a hot container in their hand, and they were like serving everything. Because wherever person is eating, you put it there, it becomes contaminated. About prasadam, another very important thing is, suppose आपके गले में माला है, जप माला है, this is a very important point, please write it down, ठीक है? If you have a गले में जप माला, you cannot do offering to the Lord because you have prasadi in your neck. Suppose if you are in a position where you got some food in your hand and you know that it's not been offered, you can touch that food a bit and you can put it on your kanthi mala, and then again you can put that back. So kanthi mala is always क्या नाम है, it's offered. So tulsi now can contaminate, right? तो तुलसी जो है वापस उसको खाने को प्रसादम बनाएगी. So one should not cut the fruits or vegetables for the Lord if he is wearing a japmala. So, yeah. One should not do any archan activity when he is wearing a mala. One should not perform any yajna or homa. Also, it is also very important to have this understanding. Before honoring Prasadam, appropriate prayer should be chanted. Prasadam must be honored with the consciousness that is Krishna's mercy and is non-different from him. Therefore, except where necessary for preaching, one must maintain silence. Hearing the lecture or the cassette at the time is also beneficial. When the guests visit the house, the bhoga that has been offered to the dear home deities, become Mahaprasad, which should be distributed to all present in a small to all, including guru and sannyasis. When senior devotees are present, we should patiently wait till they begin eating. Only then we should begin eating. One should get up finishing prasadam only when all have finished eating. It's always good that if we are sitting in the pandal where so many people are sitting and eating prasadam, one should always wait for the senior devotee to get up. Because they say if you get up early, and you're carrying a plate, you're actually giving your jhutan to everybody. So this is very important and very essential. Whenever we have a prasadam, what we should do? We should always hmm, hmm, senior devotee का wait करना चाहिए. You already had prasadam, so let me see when is he getting up. Or suppose if you have a seva, you can take permission. Puri, can I leave? Yes, you should. And if you're saying that, you do. We should not distribute prasadam unless we have washed both the hands. We should not take prasadam in view of karmi public, such as while walking down the street or while in procession. As soon as possible, prasadam should be honored either in a private place or where everyone else is taking prasadam. Kitchen, very important. We should have always kitchen. Whenever you light a Agni, it is very important for us to do the puja for the Agni because that is actually going to cook. ठीक है? DT's की जो kitchen होता है, that should be clean. One should not go inside unless that person is a clean state. मैंने बताया कि जैसे menses के अंदर माता जी घर की जो DTs होते हैं, उनके लिए वूलन कपड़े पहन के फटाफट quickly के कुछ भी कुक करके बाहर आ सकती है. That is not a problem. Okay? सब्जी काटते काटते फ्रूट काटते काटते मुंह में नहीं खाना चाहिए. ठीक है. अच्छा, नाखून खट्टे होने चाहिए. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. And one should put anything in one's mouth. How one should not put. And किचन सिंक होता है उसके अंदर अपना मुंह भी rinse नहीं करना चाहिए. ठीक है. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. भगवान के खाने के बर्तन हमेशा लोगों ने और भगवान ये जो है किचन में जो भी भोग बन रहा है शुड नॉट एनी दिस इज आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और जिस भी वेसल में हम भगवान के लिए भोग बनाते हैं दैट इज आल्सो कंसीडर्ड सूची. So actually suchi means the utensils which we use for Krishna to offer prasadam or we use for making the bhoga. So yeah, muchi is the in which we eat prasadam. Yeah, suchi muchi. And you know how what bhoga is and what prasad is. So if one touches the floor of dustbin, okay, or the lower part of one's body, one should wash one's hand immediately. There should be no necessary talking. While you're saying something, something can come out of your mouth and can fall in the bhoga, the contaminated bhoga. Cooking platforms, stoves, sink, etc. should be before and after cooking. Fully, but efficiently avoid cluttering. Anything smaller to the floor should be put on the table, and if a vegetable fall on the floor, it must be washed and removed. Make sure are not stepping on it. And once one may not enter the kitchen straight unless taken bath. Or even taking bath is not sufficient. You should have put the and then the proper ashwani. Then only you're qualified to go inside the kitchen. Mahaprasada should not be eaten directly from the plate. Of course, that is very basic. And it should be transferred to the another vessel or plate before being eaten. Right? Jai Gauranga. Jai Gaurhari. Already 8 o'clock, 10 minutes left. So we know appendix, like in appendix, Vishnu Shila Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, Pranam Mantra. When we are paying obeisances, we should pay obeisances like this. No, Upawala. We should not pay obeisances like the person who's paying down. Prachang Pranam. Applying Tilak. Told you in DD worship class also. The house is always contaminated. We have to beautify it. So the best beautify way to beautify, the best way to beautify your body is actually putting the tilak on your body. So when you are actually mixing the tilaka into water, you say first you call like this. Ingeti Yamune Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Navado Sindhakari Rishi Sandhya Guru. Then you take a tilak. You start with Lalari Keshwam Dhyayan Narayana Thudare Vakshasal Madhavam to Govinda Kandupupage Vishnu Dakshina Gaksha Bahocha Madhusudana Trivikram Kandare Duvamanam Parishwe Sri Ram Bahocha Rishikesha Kandare Vishnu Chapanda Bhavamcha Katyam Damodaram Nase like this. Keshwaram Narayana Madhavanam Govindanam Vishnu Madhusudanam Trivikram Bhavana Sri Rishikesharam Om Padmanabhanam Damodaram Vasudevaya Namaha. Even they say that, they chant the Jai Dhani. Jai Dhani is different and your Pranam is different. Prayers for offering Bhoga, we all know. Om Namo Vishnu Namo Mahavadanyaya. Namo Bhakta Namo Brahmana Devaya. Okay. Then you can chant the mantra of Prabhupada also if you want. The glorification of Lord's Prasadam, Mahaprasada Govinde, Nang Brahmani Vaishnava, Sarva Punya Utam Raja Vishwasana Vijay. Okay, for those who have sinned, very few pious activities, the faith in Mahaprasadam, Sri Govinda, in the holy name and in Vaishnava is never more. Shri Vidyajal, Shri Nyatakisham, only as serving Prasadam. Serving Prasadam should be served by initiated devotees. ये मैं पहली बार सुना है कि सर्व भी वही करें initiated devotees. I've seen that devotees should cook. But anyways, जो भी है. So one should ensure the preparation meant to be served hot are actually hot, but not reheated after having become cold. And that all preparation to be served are either present or will arrive for serving at the proper time. Yeah. Neither the proper nor the surviving utensils should be ever touched. The plates or hands for those who are eating. Okay, so very important to serve prasadam. And if the prasadam may be gently dropped on the free area, taking care to not mix salty preparation with sweet preparation. Okay, water should be served first. Goriya Vaishnava's prasadam, then begin the main meal with the bitter food such as shutta and spinach. There is a follower by dal and savories. Then come Then come other vegetable preparations, progressing from lighter sabji to richer sabji and from wet to dry. The richer veg sabjis are served again, followed by raitas and chutneys. Finally, sweet progressing from less to more sweet. And rice and chapatis should be offered from the very beginning and relish as required until those honoring the prasadam have finally all subsidies possible. Chapatis should be served hot. Okay? So this is very important for the prasadam. Only prasadam we should take with the right hand. We should never take food during the eclipse time. We should try to avoid, taking prasadam before 12 o'clock, following the, our acharyas. They used to consider the half day fasting may not have any meaning, but half day fasting is very difficult and very important and essential for a Vaishnava. So one should eat in a clean, spacious, peaceful place. If possible, one may avoid eating in a vehicle. Okay? One should not eat at the sandhyas before bathing or before performing Gayatri Japa or your morning deity worship. Also, it is not proper to eat until the food from the previous meal has been digested. Okay? One should eat with the leg crossed but unless yeah. So eating, हमें हाथ से खाना चाहिए, चटनी से नहीं खाना चाहिए, ठीक है? And we should eat, we should remember Krishna, how beautifully he is eating his cowherd boys, you know, and this is very important. And then we should also understand that even if the right hand is pure, sorry, contaminated, we are not supposed to take the left anything from left hand. Even if the left hand is pure, very important. After the meal, it is appropriate to chant the prayer of the Lord. After the meal, at a finished meal and while walking through the fish, one may chant aloud various slokas and praise to God for the Lord. And out of respect for others who are still eating, all persons in a row should wait for others in the same row to finish before rising. ठीक है, ऐसे बोला ना, do not take rest or perform any uh, strenuous labor directly after a meal. One should maintain a tranquil frame of mind, as one did during or the meal, by becoming the Lord, chanting his name and discussing his pastime. Anyways, different devotees, three category of devotees, I already told you. आपसे बड़े जो होंगे वो रिस्पेक्ट देना और वो प्यार देना है, और जो बराबर वाले हैं उनके साथ फ्रेंडशिप रखनी है. और dealing with the spiritual master is not your what do you call? Sorry, I have to leave. Okay. ठीक है. तो क्या है कि स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर जो है ना वो कोई मैरिज काउंसलर नहीं है कि वी शुड गो टू आई डोंट आस्क हिम, यार मेरी मैरिज नहीं हो रही, मैं ये नहीं हो रहा, वो नहीं हो रहा. द प्रेजेंस ऑफ गुरु वन शुड नॉट इंस्ट्रक्ट अदर्स. ऐसे दिस इज आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. तो वो पास ये नहीं बोल सकते गुरु आज जो मेरे स्टूडेंट्स हैं, यू नो, एंड देन लेट मी टीच, वहां पे जाके तुम अपने शिष्यों को इंस्ट्रक्शन दे रहे हो, ठीक है, अपने गुरु महाराज के सामने. दैट इज आल्सो ऑफेंस, यू नो. वहां पे गुरु की प्रेजेंस में अपने डिसाइपल नहीं देखे जाने चाहिए. Not a very good idea. Okay. One should never instruct one's own spiritual master. Guru का advice मत दो. He knows everything. ठीक है? One should never argue with one's spiritual master. One should never present one's qualification in front of a Guru Maharaj. Like Guru Maharaj, I am an MBA. I know what mistake you're making. I have this and that. I have this solution, that solution. Not the way. One should never sit on the same level as master unless one receive the permission. One, just like Lord Krishna is not different, there is his name or picture. Similarly, there is no difference between the spiritual master and his name and picture. Hence, one should keep pictures of the Guru and Krishna a proper place. One should not read books apart from those written by Guru and Parampara unless one has permission and blessings. मतलब कोई अगर प्रिपेयर कर रहा है मेडिकल के लिए, फाइनल ईयर के लिए, एवरी ईयर, they can read the books, right? Dealing with seniors, very important. Within the tradition, it is an important access to our humility to respect those who are in the senior position than ourselves. In the claim of seniority and sentiment, Vaishnavas, the Guru who is to be respected as representative of Lord of God, so that he must be given the respect in Krishna himself. Okay? All sannyasi should be offered respectful obeisances, very important, and so on. आप सब जानते हैं इस बारे में. ठीक है? Dealing with God brothers are not your property, and God brothers is also like very sectarian word. So when you're saying that God brother, it simply means that you want to do something together. I have no problem with that, but still it is not very good. So God's brother is everybody is a God brother because everybody may have different guru, but their dada, our dada is same, right? And that's A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. It is very important for us to have connections with them, you know, and let's say, I have Mayapur Prabhu and then, Mayapur Prabhu from Croatia. So he's also helping me to understand the food business, and I'd like to channelize the food business into Slovenia. Let's see how much I would succeed. Okay, we'll distributing 300 meals every day. Let's see how. So anyway, when we meet another God brother, we should bow down and offer prayers. Also, the worship to pass the word. We must never along. ठीक है. Dealing with ladies, every woman should be considered as just Didi, sister, always guest, dealing with the guest. And we should always, behave properly with the Vaishnavas, especially the guests. And addressing Vaishnava, we should always address as His Grace, His Divine Grace, or my God brother, His Grace. Is that? Yeah. Being a brother Vaishnava, um, of course, don't associate with the doubtful character. Don't associate with his areas. Don't associate with the Vaishnavas of doubtful bona fide. Mayavadi Sampradaya is don't go there. Vaishnava is not to be seen from material viewpoint. पेट में दर्द हो रहा है, तो ये हो रहा है, तो ये हो रहा है, ये कैसे दूर हो सकता है? You know? इसके बारे में हम कल बात करेंगे. Reception of guest, अतिथि सेवा in temple or home. Anybody has any question? So, any question? What discussion we had with Peter Radhesham for the Krishna Bhagavan Shri Vaishnava. Only could the Vaishnava to give us blessings so that we can always remain situated in Swarup as a servant of Krishna and serve the divine couple with our mind, body, and our actions, and attain the goal of life, that is Krishna Prema and Radha Dasya. Vanchakal Putru Vaishya Kripa Sindhu